Hey guys, it's that Dividend guy coming at you with another dividend investing video. I wanted to get your guys' take on Warren Buffett selling out his airline stocks. I've heard a lot of people talking about it, and I wanted to kind of give my 2 cents about the industry, and how I feel about it, and see kind of what you guys thought because this is Mr. Buy and Hold. I mean, he's held a lot of stocks through turmoil. I mean, if you look at it, like he stopped American Express from bankruptcy. He admitted he overpaid for Kraft Heinz, but he still holds it. It's one of his bigger positions. Um, and Wells Fargo had a lot of controversy, and he still held the stock. I mean, they had like thousands of fake accounts or millions of fake accounts. People, there was a lot of security issues at Wells Fargo as well. So he's held through major downturns, and three of his biggest positions. So I know he didn't have a huge stake. I think it was like 10%, which is a decent amount in the airline stocks. But he held the entire industry, from what I understand. Like the biggest players, um, I know he held Delta, Southwest. I know he held a few of them, but he just sold out of them, which is very weird because he's Mr. Buy and Hold. I mean, his whole thing is you hold stocks and they appreciate, and the dividends appreciate over time. That's how he's made his fortune. Is he's bought stocks low and sold them, well, bought them low and held them until they're high. Um, so it's a little crazy that he just sold out of a whole industry. But he said he no longer sees upside in the airlines. So, and I did watch the meeting. I watched the annual meeting. I always do. But it's just weird because like from year to year, he was talking really well about the airline stocks. Even a couple of years back, he did say that he never was going to buy airlines. He didn't see the potential in them. But then he changed his outlook, and then now that the corona's hit, usually you would expect Buffett to just hold the airline. So it's very weird to see him sell. Which begs the question for me, are the airlines a buy? Which I don't think so. If he sees a lot of downside of them, he's smarter than me. But you can't base your moves on what somebody else does. Well, let's take a look and see what the article has to say. So billionaire investor Warren Buffett says his company Berkshire Hathaway has sold out of all of its shares of the four largest airlines, so I knew it held the biggest ones. Speaking of the annual shareholders meeting, Buffett said the world has changed because of the virus, which we knew. Um, he said he had been wrong to invest in the airline industry, which he said he was shaky in the first place, so I don't know why he would do that. Buffett comments came just hours after Berkshire Hathaway announced the record 50 billion net first quarter loss. The conglomerate had a, excuse me, yeah, about what I thought, about 10% in each. Conglomerate had an 11% stake in Delta, 10% in American, 10% in Southwest, and 9% of United. So he had about 10% in each airline of the major airlines in America. The firm began investing in the four airlines in 2016. So I said a few years ago. So he's held them for 4 years after avoiding the aviation industry for years. So he did say that he was avoiding it for a very long time because he said it was like the car companies. He didn't know which one was going to be successful enough to put money into. It's and like the weed companies too. It's like you have 10, say you have 10 airlines, 10 weed companies, ten car manufacturers. You don't know which one's going to win. Like it's easier like Coke, Pepsi, or Dr. Pepper. There's three options there. That's a lot easier to narrow down than seven airlines. And he said at the time when he invested in GM, and there was like 20 car companies. So he invested in the whole industry because he obviously didn't understand it enough to pick an individual one, which would scream to me that you shouldn't be in the airlines at all if you have to buy the top four. If you don't know which one's the best, if you can't analyze the airlines properly to pick the one that you know is going to be more profitable than the others, then I wouldn't have invested in it at all. Um, we made the decision in terms of airline businesses. We took money out of the business basically even at a substantial loss. We will not fund a company where we think that it's going to chew up money in the future. Well, then you shouldn't have put money in it in the first place. The U.S. travel industry has almost collapsed as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, with airlines cutting hundreds of thousands of flights and taking thousands of planes out of service. I mean, it makes sense, guys. If the cruise lines are struggling, then airline's going to be the same thing. Like, these are leisure things, and some people have to fly for business and things like that. But if companies are shutting down, forcing their workers to stay at home, there's no way that they're going to be able to be on a flight. Like they said that I just watched an article. I watched a video talking about how they think that it's a possibility that flights can get up to like 12 to 20% capacity and maybe 50%, but that's not going to be enough. Like, they're used to having, you think it's like every day flights would have been going out. So they would have been, let's say they make $10,000 a day. They're already out of like millions of dollars within, you know, a couple of weeks. They're in the hole. So, and a lot of these airlines, from what I've seen, don't have a lot of cash, and they have debt. So it's like they're not in a financial, they're not in a secure enough financial space to deal with a pandemic like this. Like, they depend on the flights going out to make their money, and once they don't, then they're gonna lose money. It's not that that's one of the reasons why I've stayed away from the airline so much, is because they're 100% dependent on flights, where like it's because it's not that diversified of a business. It's not like, say, like Johnson and Johnson, or 3M, or Procter and Gamble, where like, if, let's say, I don't know, Listerine gets shelved or whatever, like let's say a couple products by Procter and Gamble get shelved, they have enough product that people buy every day, that a couple of their products going under. Or like, let's use Johnson and Johnson, the baby oil thing. That was a huge deal, right? Babies were getting sick, and I don't condone that or anything, but they got they had an issue with a product, right? Which, let's say that's the airlines going down. But the difference is, that's the only way that they make money. Like, they can't, like, imagine if the baby powder was the only thing J&J had on that shelf. If that goes out, or that has an issue, or that gets recalled, they're screwed. They can't make any money because they only have that one way of making money. That's how the airlines are, from what I understand. They're not making money unless people are flying. Therefore, they're not making any money as long as they can't fly at all. So now they're gonna only be at a fourth of their income, and have to operate at that, and pay their employees, and keep their airports open, and pay all their bills. Like, it's just not gonna be sustainable, and they don't have the cash. They don't have the cash on their balance sheet to keep throwing at their employees, and keep all their stuff running, because they don't have any income coming in. And I honestly, I agree with Buffett that he sold them. And honestly, like, I want to say I'm an opportunistic investor, and buy when he sells, but I just don't see a lot of upside in the industry. Which, if you were that shaky about it in the first place, like I said, why would you even invest? Like, I know you can't see a pandemic coming, but if the businesses were this shaky prior to a pandemic, why do you think, like, if you weren't confident enough that the businesses were going to excel, because they usually pick businesses that will do good in any economy, like Kraft Heinz, they sell food. They're going to be around. They can't, what I mean? Like, people need to eat food. Or like Dairy Queen, people eat ice cream. Or like Duracell, people need batteries. Apple, people need computers and components. And you see what I mean? Like, people need phones. Like, usually they're pretty good at picking their businesses, but with this, I just don't see the upside. I wouldn't have seen the upside originally. Like, I don't know why Buffett would change his philosophy on airlines randomly. It just didn't make sense. Where it said in this article alone, he had been avoiding the industry for years. So why all of a sudden in 2016 did he jump into it? It just doesn't make sense. Just not airlines before the pandemic hit. It's a blow to have essentially your demand dry up. He said it's basically that we shut off air travel to the country. Um, Will airlines get flying again? The statement Delta said it was aware of the sell and has tremendous respect for Buffett and the Berkshire team. The airline added that it remains confident in its strengths. So the airlines aren't mad at Buffett for selling, but really Buffett shouldn't have been in them in the first place. So he seems shaky about the business, which I wouldn't invest in it anyway. But let me know, guys. Are you current shareholders of any of the four major airlines that they listed? Are you a fan of airlines, of either Delta, American, Southwest, or United? I am not a huge fan of airlines. I don't understand them well enough, and I feel like they're kind of one-trick ponies. Like, they make money on one thing, and I don't think that's diversified enough for my portfolio to own. But let me know. Maybe there's huge upside in them now. Let me know if you guys have bought airlines since Buffett has sold them. I mean, this is the 3rd of May, so it's only the 18th. This article was made like 15 days ago. So it's a very recent sell for Buffett. And I just want to hear how the community feels about airlines in general. If you bought them when he sold them, if you think the industry is going to collapse, like my big thing is like I said, it's not diverse enough. Like if this is enough, I know, don't get me wrong, I know a lot of businesses have closed, but you don't see J&J struggling right now. You don't see Procter and Gamble struggling right now. You don't see Kimberly Clark struggling. Like, yeah, or Coca-Cola. Like, the thing is, these are businesses that aren't one-trick ponies. Like, let's say Coca-Cola, if they say they have, like, Sunkist, I think. If Sunkist goes off the shelves, they're still going to make money, right? But that just doesn't seem like the airlines have the product power or the revenue generation that they need. They're not diversified enough to keep making money if something like this hits, where the companies that I think I generally buy are diversified enough to stay alive during this, and they have enough cash on their balance sheet that they're not going to go under during this, which I don't know if the airlines do. But let me know if you guys are a fan of the airlines, if you've bought them since Buffett has sold them. Maybe there's huge upside, like I said, that I don't know about in the airline industry because I haven't studied it enough. But let me know, do you guys think Buffett did right by selling the airlines? Do you think he made a mistake? Let me know in the comments below if you guys bought any airlines, how you feel Buffett should have handled it, or if you're on his side. It's great that the airlines understand that, Buffett sold, they don't have any, like, remorse towards him, but I don't think he should have been in the first place. But, guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember to hit that subscribe button, and when you do hit subscribe, you should hit the bell notification so you don't miss any of my updates. I do post a video nightly on my portfolio, Monday through Friday. I try my best as long as work doesn't destroy me, but I do want to start doing more stuff like this, where it's like articles or, like buys and sells, stuff like that by bigger investors, just to, kind of see how you guys feel about it. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next dividend investing video. Take care, guys.